Welcome to the Win Solutions Podcast, your trusted partner in warehouse management. Each episode, we explore cutting-edge strategies, industry best practices, and real-world success stories to help you streamline operations, optimize resources, and stay ahead in today's fast-paced logistics landscape. Our insights are designed to empower you to understand every decision's impact in your warehouse. Let's dive into this week's episode.
You know that feeling,
Right.
That little dopamine hit.
Oh,
You're on the couch, scrolling, maybe it's late, you see a jacket you like, you tap buy.
the modern magic trick.
It's exactly that. It feels like magic. It's so seamless, so clean. And then, poof, a package just appears at your door a day or two later.
The ultimate convenience.
But today, we are going to absolutely ruin that illusion for you.
Sorry in advance.
We're shattering the glass. We are going behind that buy button to look at the absolute chaotic, messy reality where those packages actually come from.
Yeah.
We're diving into this fascinating case study of a major Australian fashion e-commerce company that, well, it grew so fast it basically lost its grip on reality.
It's a classic story of scale, actually. We see this a lot. A company scales up its marketing, its website, but the operations, the actual physical stuff, that gets left behind.
This was a huge operation.
Huge. At its peak, this warehouse had 1,300 people working in it.
That's a small village.
It is. But imagine a village where the mayor has, almost zero idea what any of the citizens are actually doing all day.
And that's where our source material comes in.
Right. It's a case study by a company called Win Solutions about their DC Metris platform. And the principal, James Gardiner, he put it bluntly, he called it an out-of-control staffing issue.
And out of control isn't just corporate jargon here. We're not talking about missing a target by a couple of percent. We're talking about a company that was just bleeding millions.
Millions. And not from some big strategic mistake. It was from thousands of tiny, invisible cuts that nobody could even see.
So the mission for this deep dive, it isn't really just about supply chains.
Yeah.
If you're listening and thinking, I don't work in a warehouse, just stay with us.
Because this is all about operational visibility. How do you go from a complete black box where you just pour money in and hope for the best to a precision machine that saves $6 million a year?
6 million. I circled that number about 3 times in my notes. So let's start in the dark. Take us into that warehouse before the fix. What do you mean they didn't know what people were doing?
Well, they knew the big numbers, the macro stuff.
Outputs.
Exactly, the outputs. So, for example, the receiving department. These are the people taking new stock off the trucks. Management knew that department as a whole processed about 170 units per hour.
Which sounds fine, I guess. Is that good or bad?
And that's the whole problem. It's just a number. But get this. There were 80 people in that department.
80.
80. So the math just falls apart. Was everyone doing 2 units an hour? Was one superstar doing 100 while everyone else was on their phone? They had no idea.
So there was absolutely no link between payroll, who's clocked in, and performance, what's actually getting done.
None. Totally decoupled. And when you have that level of anonymity in a workforce of 1,300 people, well, you can hide in the crowd.
And it wasn't just about being lazy, right? It had real-world, kind of dangerous consequences.
This is where it gets a bit grim. Let's talk about the returns department.
Okay.
So this retailer had a return rate of about 28%.
Which for online fashion isn't crazy, right? People buy a few sizes, send 2 back.
Exactly. It's the cost of doing business. But processing returns is, tedious. You have to open the bag, check for stains, for damage, refold it, repackage it. It's slow.
And because no one was watching them individually?
They started cutting corners. Big time. They just stopped checking. They'd grab a returned item, maybe give it a quick fold, and toss it back on the ready-to-sell pile.
And the case study mentions one specific result of this that is, well, it's horrifying.
Needles?
You're kidding. Actual needles.
Yes, sewing needles or pins left in the garment from manufacturing or alterations. A proper check would find them. But these workers weren't checking.
So they were shipping clothes out to new customers.
With needles still inside.
Oh, wow. Imagine opening that package you're so excited about and you get stabbed by a pin.
It's a PR disaster just waiting to happen, but it's a symptom of the blindness. Management couldn't even figure out who processed that return. They couldn't retrain anyone, couldn't discipline anyone. They were completely blind.
So that's the big dramatic failure. But the case study seems to say the real financial damage was smaller. It was the walking.
Death by 1,000 cuts. Or I guess death by 1,000 walks.
Unpack that for me, because walking time doesn't sound like a crisis.
It is when you scale it.
Yeah.
They found these huge structural problems. For example, some workers were walking for 10 to 15 minutes just to get a roll of labels.
A 15-minute walk. I mean, come on. Why is that a catastrophe?
Because for one person, it's a break. But if you have 100 workers doing that walk twice a day, that's 3,000 minutes of lost productivity.
Right.
Every single day. You are literally paying people thousands of dollars to hike across a warehouse floor.
And the VIP packaging thing was the same idea.
Exactly the same. They had premium orders needing special boxes, tissue paper. But instead of keeping that stuff at the packing stations,
They kept it somewhere else.
way across the warehouse. So every time a high-value order came through, the worker had to abandon their post and go on a trek. It's just maddeningly inefficient.
But if you're the manager in an office staring at a spreadsheet, you don't see the walking.
All you see is that units per hour is low, and you don't know why. They were seeing the what, not the why.
So the place is a mess. It's dangerous. It's losing money. And then Win Solutions comes in with this DC Metrics platform.
Right. And they didn't do what most consultants do, which is this big bang approach.
Burn it all down.
Yeah, which almost always fails. It's too much of a shock. Instead, they used a phased approach. They knew they had to build trust in the data first.
So phase one, how do you start?
Phase one was incredibly unsexy. It wasn't AI or robots. It was just time and attendance.
Like a digital roll call.
Basically. They spent 4 to 6 weeks just connecting the warehouse system to the payroll system, making sure John Smith in payroll was the same person as user 452 on the scanner.
Just connecting the dots.
That's it. No targets, no work faster speeches, just turning the lights on.
And after that,
Then came phase two. Productivity tracking. And this is where the magic happens.
the aha moment.
Yes, they just turned on the dashboard so supervisors could see individual output in real time. And get this, just by turning the tracking on.
Just making it visible.
Just making it visible, no new targets. They immediately started saving between $22,000 and $30,000 a week.
Wait, stop. A week. That's over $1.5 million a year, just from people knowing they were being watched.
It's a classic phenomenon, the Hawthorne effect. People change their behavior when they know they're being observed. The slackers tighten up. The social loitering just evaporated.
But it wasn't just a fear tactic.
Not at all. It gave the supervisors context. Before, a manager just yelled, "Go faster!" Now they could look at a screen and see, oh, Sarah's team is slow because they ran out of boxes.
It changes the conversation from "you're lazy" to "here's the problem we need to solve."
Precisely. Which leads to phase three, which I think is the most important part. Engineered work measurement.
That sounds very corporate. What does it mean?
It means creating a fair ruler. They stopped treating everyone the same. They had permanent staff, the veterans, and they had agency casuals, temps who just started that morning.
And you can't expect the rookie to perform like the veteran.
Of course not. But most places do, or they use some useless average. Here, they set different benchmarks. Permanent staff were expected to do 230 units an hour.
Okay.
Agency casuals. Their benchmark was 150.
That's really smart. And fair.
It's realistic. It makes planning possible. You don't just say, we need 50 bodies. You say, we need 30 permanent staff and 20 agency staff to hit this number, because you know exactly what they're capable of.
Okay, so they have the data, they had the benchmarks. But a dashboard doesn't fix a culture.
Absolutely not. That's the ground level truth. They didn't just install software and leave. They made the supervisors do physical audits. Get up, walk the floor.
Management by walking around.
Old school, but it works. The screen tells you what is happening, output is 0. Walking the floor tells you, oh, that person is on a 15-minute hike to get labels.
And this is where the story took a turn that I really didn't expect. Normally you hear worker tracking and you think, Big Brother, dystopian.
Oppressive, yeah. And workers usually hate it.
But the case study claims the workers here, they embraced it. They used the data to fight back. Is that real, or is that just corporate spin?
No, it's a real thing. It's called upward accountability. Think about it from the good worker's perspective. You want to hit your 230 units, but the conveyor is broken or you have no boxes.
And the boss just blames you for being slow.
Exactly. You get yelled at for things outside your control. But now the data was visible to everyone. So the workers started going to their supervisors and saying, look at the dashboard. You want me to hit my target? Well, look at my downtime. That's because you haven't given me the materials I need.
Wow. So the data became a shield.
A shield against bad management. It forced the supervisors to actually supervise, to clear the roadblocks. And that accountability rippled upwards. Supervisors started challenging their managers about procurement issues.
It exposed the real problems all the way up the chain.
It removed the excuses. You couldn't blame lazy temp workers anymore when the data proved the workers were ready, but the process was broken.
That's incredible. But it must have been so hard to do this while the business was still running.
James Gardiner called it the business as usual bottleneck. It's like trying to change the engine on a car while you're driving down the highway.
So how did they pull that off?
They had to pause. During the peak seasons, like Christmas or Black Friday, they basically had to stop the implementation and just say, okay, everyone, survive, just get the boxes out. We'll come back to this in January.
If they'd pushed through, it could have all collapsed.
It would have broken the business. You have to respect the operational reality.
All right, let's get to the bottom line. That $6 million number we teased, how did they actually get there?
It really comes down to headcount. Remember, at the peak, they had 1,300 people in that warehouse.
1,300, right.
After the transformation, after fixing all these issues, they got that peak number down to between 700 and 800 people.
They cut the workforce by almost half.
They cut the inefficiency. They didn't need those extra people anymore because the 700 they had were actually being effective, and they almost completely eliminated the expensive agency casuals.
The tempest.
Yep. The workforce stabilized. James, in the case study, calculates that each employee cost the company about $60,000 a year all in.
So even a conservative reduction.
Even if you just say they reduced headcount by 100 people, which is way low. 100 times $60,000 is $6 million in annual savings.
And the actual number was much higher.
Much higher. So the $6 million is a baseline. That's before you add the $1.5 million from the initial productivity gains.
And what did the system cost them to put in?
The implementation cost was around $327,000.
You spent $300,000 to save $6 million a year.
It's an ROI of over 1,700%. It's astronomical. In business, you're happy with 20%.
And that's not even counting the unquantifiable stuff, like not sending needles to your customers.
Which is priceless, right? Not stabbing your customers is generally a pretty good retention strategy.
I would hope so.
Yeah.
So is that it? They fixed it? Story over?
There's always a next evolution. The case study talks about moving into predictive modeling.
Sounds futuristic.
It kind of is. Everything we've talked about is descriptive. It tells you what happened. The future is prescriptive. It tells you what to do.
Give me an example.
Okay, you're planning for Black Friday next year. Right now, you might just guess and say, I think we need 500 people.
An expensive guess.
A very expensive guess. The new system will take all that historical data, all the different work rates, and it will tell the retailer, you need to hire exactly 42 permanent staff and 18 agency staff to hit your target at the lowest possible cost.
So it does the planning for you.
It prevents the fire from even starting. It's a total game changer.
Wow. From total chaos and needles to an algorithm telling you who to hire 6 months from now.
That's the journey. Visibility leads to accountability, which leads to predictability.
So what's the big takeaway here for someone who doesn't run a warehouse?
It's that idea that scale amplifies everything. A tiny inefficiency, a messy desktop, a confusing process. It's annoying for one person. But when you multiply that by a whole team or a whole company, it's costing you way more than you think.
The invisible friction.
Exactly. You can't fix what you can't see. This retailer was losing millions simply because they weren't looking. They assumed that because people were busy, they were being productive.
And busy does not equal productive.
Rarely. Which brings us to the closing thought. I want you, listening right now, to think about your own work. You probably don't walk 15 minutes for a roll of labels, but where are the 15-minute walks in your day?
What's that one little task you do over and over that takes way too long, but you've just accepted it as normal?
What are the invisible inefficiencies costing you time or money or just your sanity because you've never stopped to actually measure them?
Maybe it's time to do your own little audit.
Turn the lights on, see what you find.
Exactly. Thanks for diving in with us today.
Always a pleasure.
Thank you for joining us on the Win Solutions podcast. If today's episode sparked ideas or inspired change, we'd love to hear from you. Visit us at winsolutions.com or follow us on LinkedIn to explore more ways to optimize your operations and stay ahead in this ever-evolving industry. Until next time.